How I lost 200 pounds and gained that self esteem thing people are always talking about. Written by AJ Miller Coaching to Our Self Improvements. Hey, my name is Alex, and I'm a personal development coach with a passion for helping people overcome negative attitudes, bad habits, and lack of discipline so that they can finally become the person they dream about being. I want to preface this story by saying that I'm not a physician or a dietitian. I used sense, research, my doctor's encouragement, and ultimately went all in on what worked for me, discarded what didn't, and put in time and heartedness required. I will not give nutritional advice here. I focus on mindsets, not meal plans. Too long didn't read. The desire to change must outweigh the desire to stay the same. I had to take responsibility for the role my behavior was playing in the results I was getting in life. Through taking ownership of my mess, I was able to do something about it. From a young age, I was extremely dystemic. Symptoms of dystemic includes loss of interests in daily activities, sadness, emptiness or feeling down, hopelessness, tiredness and lack of energy, low self esteem, self criticism, or feeling incapable, and etc. etc. I was the kid who would sit in bed and read all day, refuse offers to take me to the movies or the beach, sit and bite my fingernails while all of the other kids at school played at recess, and responded to every attempt to get me to participate met with an annoyed sigh or a shrug. When everyone else I knew was going to karate, Boy Scouts, or the pool, I sat by myself. I had no self esteem, no confidence, no energy or motivation to change. I knew something was very, very wrong, but I didn't like myself, so why would I take care of someone I didn't even like? I was put on a different medication every few months and saw therapists and specialists in several states, but nothing ever stuck. I had an issue with authority. I didn't even want to do the work, and as I got older, I found punk rock and developed a rebellious streak and stopped taking medication so that I could, in quotation marks, stay real. I struggled in school and eventually dropped out. I went to a federally funded trade school a year later when my mom gave me a do it or you're out on your own ultimatum. Learned some business and office skills, completed a few internships, and was looking like I was on track to get a pretty comfortable job and possibly develop professionally. I was extremely articulate, sensitive, empathetic, and could easily get excited about creative projects that fit my extremely specific interests. But due to my attitude, I didn't appreciate any of these qualities, and I didn't apply myself at all after graduation. Things got worse as I failed to find work, and my anxiety and frustration with myself grew. Eventually, I was put on Social Security disability benefits due to becoming entirely despondent and unable, which was unwillingness mistaken for inability to get out of bed, bathe, and brush my teeth or do much of anything to take care of myself. This continued for about 11 years. I got up to 400 pounds. I smoked a pack and a half of cigarettes every day. I didn't leave my house except to buy soda and candy. And I resigned myself to dying of a heart attack by 40. And nothing interested me except escapism. Escapism is when uh, like you play video games or watch a lot of TVs to escape reality. I played video games for 14 hours a day. That is not an exaggeration. Despite all of my issues, I was somehow considered endearing and managed to find a girlfriend who I moved in with for several years. I was not a good boyfriend. It's hard to be good when you're more focused on how unhappy you are than how unhappy your partner is. Eventually, after understandable relationship issues, I moved back home and once again resigned myself to more of the same. I met someone through an online community who offered to help coach me through weight loss, but she ultimately flaked and I never heard from her. That had been my moment. I had spent so many years feeling like I couldn't lose weight because the exercise was hard, and I told myself that I could never give up pizza and candy and soda. I imagined having to run on a treadmill for 2 hours every night and eat only unseasoned chicken breasts and boiled broccoli. It seemed miserable, and I didn't believe in myself, so I never really tried. I would daydream about finding a magic lamp and using one of my wishes to be transformed into someone skinny, attractive, and confident. So when this person ghosted me, my initial reaction was pain, betrayal, frustration, and this victim mentality that, well, of course she gave up on me. Everyone does. At this point, something clicked and everything changed. It hit me like a bolt of lightning. I could not control other people, and that meant that if I left things up to other people, I would never be able to guarantee that I would get what I needed to feel secure. But I was in control of myself, and that meant that I had the power to determine what I thought, what I felt, how I behaved, and ultimately the results I would get out of my life. While there is some small amount of terror in knowing that you alone are responsible for your outcomes, there is also relief and empowerment. You can't rely on anyone else, and you don't have to. I was not helpless, I was not a victim, I simply had unhelpful beliefs and attitudes. I thought about the magic lamp and realized that if I spent even 10% of the time I was wasting daydreaming on taking action instead, I would be unstoppable. I need I didn't need a genie. I was the genie. I started my weight loss journey in late 2017, and a little under 2 years later, I had gone from weighing over 500. Sorry. I've read this like 3 or 4 times and I've lost all my energy. I started my weight loss journey in late 17, and a little under 2 years later, I had gone from weighing over 400 pounds to 172. My original goal had been to try to get as skinny as possible. But I started losing my hair, and people were asking if I was okay, so I figured it was time to chill. I figured I would get big again, but strategically this time. I quit smoking cold turkey and started lifting weights and running at gym 5 times a week. I'm up to 215ish now, but I can do push-ups, so it's a fair trade. I stopped playing video games for 14 hours a day and started to go to church and volunteer in my community. I eventually recovered all of my mental and physical health issues: pre-diabetic, sleep apnea, gout, chronic migraines, and heartburn among others, and was deemed fit to return to work. With the income I would always relieve upon gone, I learned how to write a resume, went on job interviews, and landed my first full time job in over a decade. At that point, I realized my purpose in life. After so many years of thinking I was the victim, I couldn't do anything. I was too this or too that. I, I overcame all of my ailments, my addictions, my insecurities, my supposed inadequacies, and found unshakable confidence and inner conviction. I feel a calling to share that with others. The universe granted me that spark of clarity, which inspired me to do a 180 in life. And I hope this story inspires you to realize what you're capable of. Seriously, if a guy like me could get it together, anyone can.